Okay.
Right. So, today what I want to do is we did 2 long sessions, I think more than 2 on the corporate governance. So I put up few questions on that area. Let's look at some of these questions so that we can sharpen our mind more on the corporate governance. Because I basically believe the risk, the 2 sections what we have done is the foundation, and all the next lessons what we are going to do is basically based on that foundation. What it really required is good corporate governance and good risk management. And if those 2 works well, I think one more internal controls, things should be all right for a business. Right. So first of all, let's look at the first question. Which 3 of the following represent examples of good, effective corporate governance? Which 3 of the following? The one is the recruitment of NADs with experience outside the industry the organization operates in, full disclosure of director remuneration, senior management focusing exclusively on objectives linked to bonus payments, low staff turnover, a clear distinction between the roles of chairman and chief executive officer.
Okay, I would think so which 3?
Yeah, which 3?
So E would be one of them, and a clear distinction between the roles of chairman and chief executive officer.
Yes. Yes.
That'd be 1. And then full disclosure of director remuneration.
Yeah, very good. 2, yes.
I think low staff turnover.
Yeah. Low staff turnover is never reflected in the corporate governance.
Okay.
Yeah. The NADs, NAD recruitment, the other 2 are part and parcel of arising from corporate governance. There will be low staff turnover, and senior management should be focusing on objectives, but whether it should be linked to bonus is not really a good thing. Whether you are linked to the bonus or not, you should be focusing on objectives. Right. So my answer will be recruitment of NEDs with experience outside the industry. So that is basically to bring that wider spectrum. People coming outside the industry, they are independent, they can think differently. So that's a good thing. Full disclosure of director remuneration is part and parcel of your corporate governance. Actually, that is what it means. And also the clear distinction between roles of chairman and chief executive. Now, I like the way that you started. Try and see whatever you think right, straight away right, go and pick it up. Because I believe this is a question, probably you will get 3 marks for the 3 points. Right? So even if you get 2 marks, 2 things, because surely you have 2. I mean, the clear distinction and the full disclosure, you really knew about it. So just mark it and keep it. If you are not sure of the 3rd one, keep the question without completing it, go to the next question. Kind of a thing. And you can come back. So, which of the following statement identify the primary or main function of NADs, non-executive director? So, we discussed the role of the non-executive director. So, which one of the following? So, there you have only one answer. Which one answer? So, to ensure adequate internal controls, yes, it is a part of their role, but right, whether it is the main part, we don't know, because they are really responsible for internal financial control, the audit committee particularly, right? To prevent domination of board by a single individual, that is also truly but surely not the role of the NED. It is the role of the entire board and particularly the chairman. To consider, C is the right answer. To consider safeguard, that is why they are appointed as NEDs. By having NEDs, the shareholders get a bigger confidence that the company will be run in their own interest. So, safeguarding the interest of creditors is partially, is something secondary. But I think the primary is to look after the safeguard of the shareholder, because they are appointed by the shareholders. So then the next one, the 3rd one. So that is, that is a good question. Many companies operate a series of board subcommittees responsible for supervising specific role aspects of governance using NAD. The names of the board are shown below: audit, remuneration, risk, and nomination. So for each of the committee, identify the following with the corresponding description from the 4 options below. So first of all, the committee responsible for advising on executive director salary or other rewards for directors. Very easy. Remuneration committee, all right. The committee responsible for overseeing how prepare the organization to respond to possible threats.
Risk
committee, because the threat is the risk. So, right.
Yeah.
The committee responsible for recommending the appointment of new directors to the board.
Nominations.
Excellent, yeah. The committee responsible liaising with external audit, supervising internal audit, reviewing annual accounts and internal control.
The audit committee.
Yeah, right. Very good. So you can see straight away those questions you can collect the marks very quickly. So it must be having about 2 marks, and you should be able to collect it very fast. So 4th one, because there are certain questions which we can easily collect the marks, collect it quickly. But there are certain questions we may have to ponder, little thinking. So those things keep it up. In the context of corporate governance, the urgency problem refers to the reliance on NED on executive directors to present all information, the reliance on shareholders and directors to run the company, lack of unity among shareholders, reliance of external auditors on the work of the internal audit. So the agency, what is that?
Yeah.
The reliance of shareholders on the directors to run the company. Yeah, right. Because the agency problem is basically you are relying on the directors to run the company. That is what the agency problem refers to. So that's right. Yeah. Which 3 of the following statements are factors that would contribute to an effective board of directors? So remember we saw that effective board of directors. Nomination committee that oversees the appointment of new directors, wide range of backgrounds and experience across the board members, director remuneration package with 80% linked to the achievement of current year financial targets, well-respected, strong CEO.
I think the first 3.
Yeah.
Nominations committee that oversees the appointment of new directors.
Okay.
A wide range of backgrounds and experience across board members.
Yeah.
And a director remuneration package with 80% of remuneration linked directly to achievement of current year financial targets. Yeah.
Actually, that is not one of the corporate. In fact, that is really a bad one, I would say. Because current year financial target means you are basically short-term focused. Your corporate governance is basically long-term focused. So it should actually a company will be well run if you have a well-respected, strong CEO. Okay. So I think the A, B, and D are the 3 things. Okay. The third one is out for 2 reasons. One is there is nothing called 80%. It says a significant portion should be, and that is not for all the directors. It is for the executive directors only.
Okay.
And also it should not be linked to the current year, because the current year means you are focusing short term.
Short term, right? Okay.
So when you really look at from that angle, I think A, B, and D are the right answer.
Okay.
Right. So Mario recently retired. This was a tricky one. Mario recently retired from his position of managing director.
I think we missed one.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes. Yeah. Which of the following statement? Yeah, that's correct. Poor corporate governance. Select all that apply. Poor corporate governance. So we saw good corporate governance. So now we should be able to look at from a negative angle, what are the poor corporate governance that can be.
Okay. Yeah. So the first one, definitely a focus on short-term profitability.
Yeah.
Rather than long-term.
Yeah. Yes. Surely that will come up, isn't it?
Focus. Domination of the board by a single individual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those two are surely there. So, right?
Yes.
So we can select all that apply. It's a tricky question. We do not know whether it is going to be 1, 2 or all 5. But 2 definitely we are sure about it.
Yeah.
Senior managers been asked to provide explanations. Auditor. I think it is not poor corporate governance. It is strong corporate governance. Senior management been asked to provide explanation to the external auditor. Strong internal audit function. Yes, it's a strong corporate governance. Focus on long-term profitability than short-term profitability. Again, long-term good corporate governance. So I think there are only 2 what I can see. The focus on short-term profitability and domination by a single individual. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all right. So Mario recently retired from the position of managing director of Treetop PLC 50 years after founding the company. Mario has been succeeded as managing director by his eldest son. The board are keen to retain across to Mario's experience and expertise. To facilitate this, they have asked Mario to remain on the board as a non-executive director. Which 2 of the following issues are likely to reduce Mario's effectiveness as a NED? So to remember, for you to be at NED, you must be knowledgeable, skill, time availability, and independent, all that kind of a thing. So, what are the 2 factors that we are going to make it up? Surely he is not going to be independent because he had been part and parcel of that company. Right, 50 years he has been working from there. Right, 50 years after founding the company, so he must be a very old person. So that is probably surely a question. Insufficient knowledge of shareholder interest. A man who had been there for 50 years, I suppose. He will have a good this thing. Lack of a wider perspective. Unwilling to listen to others' point of view. What do you think?
I think lack of a wider perspective because he's been in the same place for
50 years. Because he had been there for 50 years in the same company, so his knowledge is very, very limited. He can't, surely he will not be able to contribute. So as an effective NED, he will be very limited. One thing is his independence, because one thing is his son is the successor, right? So therefore he is losing his independence, and also wider perspective he will not have it. You're right. 8. Which one of the following statements correctly state the main advantages of ensuring diversity at board level of an diversity means you must have a different skills of people.
Yeah.
Complies with equal opportunity legislation. No, that is not the thing because equal legislation doesn't come for us. Enables the board to better understand the environment and market. Demonstrate that non-financial.
Yes, I think that's a good.
Yeah. Enabling the.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Enables the board to better understand the environment and market.
I think because you need only one, so I think that is the best one. I think, isn't it? Which one of the following statements?
Yes.
So enables the board to better, and that is why we need people with diversity. Demonstrate that non-financial goals are no, it doesn't mean anything, right? Presents an image as a good corporate citizen, probably yes, right, by having diversity. But if you look at one of the correct statements, I think it is enable the board to better understand the environment and the market. Yeah.
Market.
Yeah. Then next one. Which of the following would normally be one of the roles of a chairman of a company? So which of the following would not normally be?
Would not normally
be, yes.
Normally. Okay. Responsible for being responsible for developing new investment initiatives.
Yeah, because that is not the role of the chairman, isn't it? That is the role of the remuneration committee.
Yes.
Right? Boards receive accurate information. Yes, it is responsible. Lead in the induction program. Yes, it is responsible. Facilitate board approvals. Helping to promote understanding the views of the directors. Yes, it is his responsibility. So I think the role that is not really working out is what is this investment thing, incentives thing.
See. Investment thing.
Right. Yeah. That is not his responsibility.
So whose responsibility would that be?
That is the remuneration committee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
for investment as well. Okay.
Pardon?
Okay.
Yeah.
For investments as well, the remuneration committee. Okay.
The new being responsible. Being responsible for developing new investment initiative. That is the role of the CEO. That is the role of the CEO.
Okay.
CEO.
Okay.
Right. He is responsible with the executive directors. They are the people who are going to look at more of the financial investment and strategy. I was thinking of the incentives. No. Investments, it is the CEO.
Okay.
CEO. Right.
Yeah.
Then the final one. Which of the following statements correctly state the main aim of external risk reporting? External risk reporting is you are taking your reports, you are reporting to the external people of your risk. So the main aim of external.
I think it's A.
Yeah, you're right, because it is to reassurance to the stakeholders that risks are being appropriately identified and managed.
Right.
Yeah. It is basically you are communicating and giving that assurance. That is what the risk external reporting means. It is not to tell that there are risks and that we don't know anything to do about. It is to give the assurance that the risks are properly managed, that they have been identified and managed. That is the responsibility of the board of directors. So that is what it means. Okay, so these are the type of questions we can have it on this one. Yeah. Right. Okay. So now we are going to all this time actually the last couple of lessons what we have done, it's basically trying to look at the foundation for a successful company. The successful company, we must be managing the risk very well, and also we should be doing the corporate governance way. And now, from now onwards, I think our syllabus is shifting. We want to see when we don't do these things, what are the strategic risks. So we are going to look at different kinds of strategic risks that we are going to come across when we really fail to do it, or how we fail it, and what are the consequences of it. So it's basically from now onwards till the end of the syllabus, it's all about looking at different kinds of risks and trying to see what it is like. So all are what we call strategic risk, I would say. So we are going to look at one strategic risk a company faces is what we call ethics and reputation. So this is what we are going to look at, ethics and reputation. So we are going to look at from that angle to the ethics and reputation. Right? So ethics. So first of all, Seema is very much focused on this ethics. So what is ethics? Ethics is basically a set of moral principles to guide you. It is not a law, right? It is not something saying that you have to do it. But your heart says, the morality says, it's a way a company or the people behave, right? So even the dress code, even the way that you respect people, the way that you address people, all that is part of your ethics, right? The way that you keep the dignity of the people. So this morning, young girl spoke to me, just about 27 or 28 years, and in a reputed company where it has lot of code of ethics and all that kind of thing. This young girl, she has had a problem with her boyfriend, and she was having a little bit of a kind of a scenario, going through a difficult time. So, the boss came to know about this difficulty, and boss had sexually abused this little young girl. Totally unethical. So this is so you can have all the best principles, but if you are not going to behave according to the principles, that's a total. So this girl spoke to me, she wants to take some legal action because she believes it's something that she has to do it. So unethical behavior is a potential source of risk. So I'm sure no one would like to join that company where this girl was hired. Because everyone will be talking. Today the talk of the town was about this girl being sexually harassed. So surely it is a source of risk. They will not be able to recruit good people. No young girl will want to join that company. Right? So that kind of a reputational risk can come up. And this is what we call probity risk, unethical behavior. So this is a new kind of a risk which we are talking about, the probity risk. Unethical behavior by one or more participants in a particular process. So you don't need to be, say, to a full group of people. One person behaving in an unethical manner could mean a probity risk for the company. And mostly it is in one area is in the sexual abuse, that kind of a thing, and the other one is in the procurement. In the procurement, particularly in the government sector. A lot of corruption happens in this area. So we have a change of government at the moment. The previous government was outvoted and a new government has come into power. And my God, first 1 week they have found too much of corruption by the previous regime. And they have impounded the passport of the governor of the central bank, secretary of the finance, and many ministers of the previous regime. And there is a big crisis at this moment of time. So much of millions of dollars of corruption all over. So this is what we call the probity risk, right? So in another area, the failure to maintain confidentiality. You know, many people will come and tell you many things, confidential things. In fact, our SIMA Code of Ethics says the confidentiality is one of our key strengths, our key attributes. We are not even supposed to discuss office matters even with our own spouse, the confidential matters I mean, right? So we are supposed to maintain confidentiality because in business we come across a lot of confidential things. Maybe if some of the big VIP fellows wanting to buy a vehicle or something like that. And if you are going to publicize that one and give all the information, that's not really good. My son works in one of the Sri Lankan bank, and he handles a lot of these Sri Lankan cricketers, so he must be knowing all the balances. So sometimes whenever we ask him, that fellow must be having a big balance, he never talks to us, right? Because he knows he's under bank code of ethics. He's supposed to maintain that confidential. Even yesterday, some of our friends are talking about the Sri Lankan cricketer Kumar Sangakkara and said, you must be knowing his bank balance. This man never opened them out. Right? Yeah, he's handling the account, true enough, but he is not supposed to talk about all that kind of a thing. So you must maintain the confidentiality. And particularly in relation to procurement, this is where a lot of problems come up. You must allow suppliers to compete as equally as possible. In other words, give everyone the same opportunity. You don't try to take a bribe from some person and design the tender document in such a way only that party can quote it. If you really look at a lot of these ethical issues, it's something like that in the government procurement. Right? You design the tender document, you design the specification in such a way only one party can quote it. So others get disqualified. Now that you can say it's transparency. No, there is no transparency. It is purely a partial way of doing things, which is not right, which is not ethical. You must make it equally as possible. So definitely the probity risk is clearly linked with reputation risk. If you are not honest, if you are not ethical, it is going to end up with a kind of an ethical reputation risk for you. So we want to look at the types of corruption. Every society, every company, every government is trying to fight against corruption. But I don't know how much they are successful. So types of corruption that we find in the business world, bribery. Bribery. This is a big thing. The big rigging. Right, that is also a kind of a thing that's happening all over. Big rigging. You try to work out things in such a way only few people can bid for it. Money laundering, which is a big issue. poor innocent people's accounts are being used to do illegal transactions. Human trafficking. Oh my God, this is all over. People being taken up, kidnapped, this, that, and the other, all sorts of things, you know, selling people for money, like. And now the worst is cybersecurity. We saw, I think, last week in America, right? Some rebel group has done something onto the security system. So this is also becoming a kind of a corruption. I mean, we can see our companies going through this one, and the American government went through this one. So fight. So these are the types of corruptions we see in the business world all over. Bribery, right? So bribery, almost every government has acts saying bribery is illegal, and whether if you are going to solicit or whether you are going to give a bribe, it can be illegal and you can be put into jail. And in most of the countries, particularly the UK, USA, no barriers of geographical barrier, right? So even if I'm in Sri Lanka, if I offer a bribe for one of those fellows, I can be taken up and put in a USA jail. So that kind of things are there. And UK ministry particularly highlights 5 risks of bribery area. Very important, this area. So whenever you are doing business with countries with high levels of corruption, surely you have bribed. You have bribed. So that is a vulnerable area, I would say. Large-scale infrastructure sector, road developments, port developments, airport developments, all that kind of development, this power generation, large-scale $1 million projects, water supply projects, corruption, very difficult to avoid it. Particularly some other countries, you know, they know to do business only through bribery, corruption. I remember I went to China a couple of years back. I was on a tender board for a particular tender, so we had to go and meet those people and find out their conditions before we award the tender. Oh my gosh, from the time I dropped in at the airport to the hospital, to the hotel, hundreds of telephone calls. Can I come and see you? Can I come and see you? Can I come and see you? All that was, how are you? You know, can I look after your welfare? This, that, and the other, so many things. Can I offer you this, other thing? All that was to really to corrupt us. So, and it's part and parcel of their life. They just keep a 10% always for this bribery. So when the price is fixed, there's a 10%. I remember I worked in this government sector, and I left the government sector because my daughter was getting married. So I wanted to get a bank loan. So my government salary was not good enough to give me a good loan. So I had to join the private sector. So the day that I will leave, a contractor from Australia gives me a call and says, you don't leave. I said, no, I have to leave. He says, no, I will look after your daughter's wedding in the very best 5-star hotel in Sri Lanka. You tell me the number, I will spend it. I said, no, very sorry. You know, it's not my way of doing, because it's my daughter's wedding. I must do, not you. And for that purpose, I need to get a loan. I have to leave the company. So, but many of my colleagues, they got into that trap, and they were working. And I know, I mean, economically, when I really look back, I'm not the best. I have not done very well. But my other colleagues, they have done very well. Their students, their children are abroad. They have put up houses, big things. But I suppose one day I can sleep very well, because I know I have not got involved in any of those things. So corruption is, you know, if you want to make money, there's a lot of money in this, particularly because I was in the water sector and I was the head of finance. So every project had to go through me. If I were to make money, I could have been making money like that. Risky political transactions, political contributions, license, the political donations, wherever that is there, it's a sign of your bribery. It's a sign. Unsolicited business proposal. These are becoming very well. The management case study this time is about a construction company. So we do not know the strategic case study so far, But I'm sure in the management case study, there will be a lot of cases of these unsolicited proposals. Unsolicited proposals are no tenders. A particular contractor or a government will come and offer you to do a particular project in your country at a particular price, unsolicited. And that is an area where particularly the ministers and the governments, the corrupt politicians can make a lot of money because there are no tender. So they can put up any figure, and that, so I was watching TV today, the previous regime, sometimes 150% of the original cost is given as a bribe. And that works out to numberless dollars of millions, right? 150% of the thing. These projects are all multi-million projects. And on that one, 150% is too difficult to think how they are going to spend it, or that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And mostly these things happen when where there are these joint ventures and politically exposed persons, you know, so-and-so is the Prime Minister's brother-in-law. So-and-so is the Minister of Economic Affairs, some person. So-and-so is the son of the President of the country. Wherever there are political relationships and where they are involved in a particular company or something, surely 95%, 99%, you can be sure there is some bribery kind of a thing. So, internal failing. Now, internal failing. So, most of the time we can see these things do happen when we don't properly train our employees. Right? We don't communicate to them our policies. So I told you there was a question. The one man went to another country and got a big order for a government contract, but he promised a $5 million bribe to the minister concerned. So he was very happy when he came and informed the board of directors. So I got it for a big amount of millions of dollars, but you have to pay $5 million. The directors are furious. They said, we don't entertain bribery and all that. So, but that man said, look here, you never told me that kind of a thing. This is the normal thing that is done, and I went and did it. So, that is basically, that can have unethical behavior arising because you are not properly trained your staff on the right thing. Bonus culture that was excessive risk taking. They, you know, you tell them that you do this thing, I'm going to give you so much. So they will do it in the most unethical manner to get their business because you are going to benefit. Yeah? Okay? Hello, hello.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, the line went off. No? Hello, hello.
Oh, okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Right, okay. Right. So the bonus culture, that can create a kind of a internal failing. You tell the fellow, you get this order, somehow I'm going to give you a bonus. So that kind of a thing will put them into doing some unethical thing. Lack of clarity on company policy on things like entertainment expenses. Who can be entertained, right? Which is the entertainment expenses, political donation. So these are the areas that are gray areas, what we call, that can cause lot of internal failing, unethical behavior in the company. Lack of financial control, when you don't have proper control, when you don't have proper approval procedure, when one person can decide to do something, that is an area surely you are going to have lot of unethical things happening. So then anti-bribery message, right? If the top people are going to kind of entertain bribery kind of a thing, surely you can expect lot of variance in the bottom level. I remember a long time back, our company, we had to pay some taxes, and that was too much to pay. So I told my accountant, you better go and talk to the tax people and see whether you can get some kind of a installment plan or something. My managing director, he took up a different view. He said, no, we can't pay these taxes. So he called the accountant fellow and he said, you better go and speak to that lady concerned and give her something and see that the file is closed. So,
what?
Yeah. So I said I can't subscribe to that view. So what this fellow did was he took some gold sovereign bangles and went to this lady, met this lady, gave the bangles, and the lady accepted it. But lady gives a call in about 1 hour or 2 hours time. Lady says, look here, thank you very much for your present, but I have enough bangles. I don't need bangles, but I'm putting up a house and I need so much of money. If you can give that so much of money, I will close your file.
Wow.
So this is the country that we are in. You know, and how does that happen? It happens because the people at the top level take this kind of attitude. And you can't expect at the lower levels things to happen, because that man, the man who was taking the money, could have done anything with it. I told my managing director, look here, what you are doing is not the right thing. Right? You are praying, you are doing all these things, but this is not the right way to go ahead. But he said was, you know, we have to be wise enough. We are business people. So that is another school of thought, but we should not subscribe to that view. And Sima, surely we are not going to subscribe to that view. So, poor ethics consequences. When you have this kind of poor ethics, what are the consequences? Right? The consequences is the decent suppliers, decent customers will not deal with you. And we are facing this situation because, you know, we have sold our premises. We are trying to get a premises on rent. The company reputation is so bad, no one is willing to give them a rented premises. That is because, you know, the company is known for the unethical practices. It's not only a question of drive. If you retrain staff, if you don't treat the staff, you know, all that is unethical. And all that kind of thing is going to cause lot of problems. So doing unethical things, for me, it's a kind of a penny wise pound foolish setup.
Yeah.
I strongly believe in ethics. I strongly believe in my religious principles. So in fact, I had to leave this company in tough situations. I'm going through a lot of difficulties. But I took a stand. I decided it's enough and enough. And I said 31st December, I'm not coming to office any longer because the things are not very good. I don't feel like sometimes sleeping in the night. So, but now I lost my income, but I feel more peace in my mind.
Yeah.
Inability to recruit staff. You can't recruit good staff in a unethical company. Right? The people don't like to join that kind of a people. Fall in demand for product due to consumer boycott. People don't like to buy your products. People will slap you off. Right? And because of the adverse media, you have to spend a lot of money on a public relations cost, because you have to go on defending, you know, all what you did, which is not easy. Yeah. But you'll be spending a lot of money on that one. Auditors will be on the regulators, and the auditors will be having a sharp eye on you, because they know that you are not a straightforward corporate citizen, that you are a crooked corporate citizen. So they will be doing more checks on you, and that means more time they spend, and that means more audit fees and all that kind of a thing. Your share prices are going to fall down, right? Because your investor confidence is going to come down. Toyota share prices fell, not for these reasons, but for the record reputation. So ethics ultimately ends up with reputation. So you will have your share prices falling down. If a company is known for unethical practices, the shareholders will lose confidence in that company. They may want to disassociate, sell the shares at whatever the price, and get out of the company. So these things should happen. So linked with the ethics is the reputation risk. And I think the reputation risk is something which can bring you success, which can bring you failure. A reputed company will walk on the path of success. An unreputed or company that has lost its reputation will walk in the path of the failure, surely. Right? So you have to look at. So reputation risk is basically loss of reputation resulting from consequence of another risk. So actually there is nothing called, nothing directly happening. It is some other risk. Toyota lost its reputation when they were not honest enough to admit that a product is a default. So that was a probability risk, probably ended up with a reputation. If you are unable to pay your suppliers on time, it can be a financial risk, but that will end up with a reputational risk. If your IT system is falling all the time, your customers will be dissatisfied, and that will end up with a reputational risk. Yeah. If you're flying and if the in-flight crew is rude and not smiling, that will end up with a reputational risk. So all that is arising due to some kind of other risk or the consequence of another risk. The end result is a reputational risk. And normally when it's a reputational risk, it's somewhat external. It is exposed in the media. It is exposed all over. So it's more of looked by definitely the shareholders will look at very adversely and will have a serious consequence. Reputational risk can arise due to poor customer service. So yesterday one of my students I put up on the Facebook that she went to a particular restaurant in Sri Lanka, one of the more reputed restaurants, and she has found some food spoiled. And she has complained to the manager. Manager has not taken any notice of it. And she has put it on the social media, naming the company and saying, big reputational risk. And there were many comments from all over. And that company, I saw, has finally responded because they saw they can't just wait if the news are spreading so fast. So the company has responded to that late girl saying, please, send your complaint, we will seriously look into it, and we are sorry about it. But it was, I think, a little too late. They should have done it at the very first time. The moment the first comment appeared, if they had responded, surely they should have stopped most of that first comment. This is the exact thing what happened with Toyota. They took longer time to respond, and by that time, the society came to know, and they were somewhat, dejected, and the share prices started falling, and everything went wrong for them. Right? So, failure to innovate new products can damage company reputation. You just want to produce the old product, right? And after some time, people will say you're useless. Their products are old products. They don't have any new product. You will not patronize that place. You are not going to walk into that shop anymore. So you are going to lose that one. Look at some of these automobile industry. Some companies have just gone flat because they have not produced enough new vehicles in the recent past. Right? Business laws, penalties can cause reputational risk. Right? Violation of business laws. If you are not going to keep health and safety regulations, if you are not going to keep the food, the right food, right quality, right hygiene, and if you are going to be fined, penalized, those things will come up in the media. Taxes not paid, coming up in the media. Environmental license suspended, banking license suspended. All that will cause reputational risk. And particularly for an institution like a bank, reputation matters a lot. Reputation matters because the moment there's a little scar on the reputation, people will start withdrawing money. And if one person starts withdrawing the money, second person starts withdrawing the money, the business will start, banks will start collapsing. Right? Because the banks don't have all the liquid money, they have put up in all over place. But because they go on assumption that the people will not withdraw money, or only a certain percentage will withdraw money. But if everyone starts withdrawing, so there's a big story in Hong Kong. There was near a bank, there was a big queue in the evening. And everyone saw the queue, and everyone was panicked, thinking it is a queue on the bank to withdraw the money. And next day, a bigger queue with the bank to withdraw. To see, ultimately they analyze why. What is this suddenly people coming to withdraw? There had been a queue for the bus. There had been a queue. What I'm trying to say is how sensitive this reputation and risk is. there have been a queue for the bus, but the people thought the queue is for the bank to withdraw the money. And that is good enough. A rumor going to such a, I saw a big queue in the bank, people will go to the bank next morning to withdraw the money. I remember.
Withdraw the money.
Yeah. And the bank would have collapsed. Bank would have collapsed. I remember one of our Sri Lankan bank chairman one day told me, you know, another company that was going through a crisis, he gave me a good advice. He said, you know, if you are really struggling in a financial institution to pay, bring big bundles of notes of money and keep it stacked up for the people to see. When the people see that there is money, they will not withdraw. And that was true. That was true. You know, people get very scared. People get scared. But if they see, oh my God, these fellows have bundles of money, so there's no need to worry. Let's walk out. That is the scenario.
Yeah.
So you have to be very, very sensitive to the corporate reputation. I remember sometime back, again, in a difficult time, I was running a little bit of a grocery shop, you know, in my, in a particular place. And that place was dominated mostly by the people of Islamic faith, the Muslims, right, that area. I had good business. So every day my wife and I used to go and we were having good business. One day, one fellow came and offered us with a good discount selling these family planning pills and all that kind of a thing. So I also, you know, big commission and all that. So they put up a board saying that family planning pills and something. Next day, I see all the people of that my neighborhood, my customers, they don't come to my shop. They are passing my shop and going to the other shop. I didn't realize it. What was it? Then I saw their sales were very poor. Nothing coming right. So then I checked it to see. I asked, why? What is the problem? Why you are not coming? No. You are selling this family planning pills and all that. According to our religious policy, that is against.
Oh, yeah.
That is against. So, a reputational risk, right? Without realizing, I went. So, those things can happen. Poor corporate governance. We discuss corporate governance. If you have bad directors, cheating directors, if you have people trying to get excessive remuneration, people not really contributing to the company, surely you are going to have reputation of it. A bad CEO, poor CEO, bad chairman, all that is going to create problems for you. Poor environmental performance. You know, you can't live today without the environment. You have to live in the environment. No society, no man, no company will exist without the environment. So if you are not going to be concerned, conscious about the environment, you remember we were discussing reporting, and all that reporting is about social, environmental, and social environmental, right? So you have to maintain that environmental relationship. Social performance. How much are you contributing towards the society? What are you doing towards the society? How much sensitive you are towards the society? Those are the reputational risks. And poor ethics, of course. There's no question about it. You do immoral things, your reputation suffers, your business suffers. So reputation risk is something. Now, how does the reputation risk really flare up? Right? You may have a problem inside your company, right? Something, one of these things. But how does it get exposed? How does it get exposed? You may have some,
Basically, it would reflect.
How will you lose your reputation?
Like either maybe someone.
Yes.
Someone will say from the company.
How do you and I, we have a reputation. We can lose our reputation in a moment. How does that happen? Mostly it happens, particularly in the corporate society, it happens through the media. Isn't it? The media only takes you. Right? You remember in America, the President Nixon's Watergate scandal. It was the media that took it. It is the media.
Yes.
So the media is the killer. Most of the time, the big businesses get killed media. The governments collapses purely because of the media. In Sri Lanka, this time the election was very much dominated by the media. Right? They wanted the existing president ousted. So the media played a big role in damaging his reputation. People come to know through the media. People will not know otherwise what you have done. But people come to know through the media. So if you want to handle the reputation of race one way, what you do is you must handle the media very well. That is why you can't be arrogant with the media. You can't be angry with the media. You must be very, very tactful with the media. And that is why most of the companies, they have a kind of a media relations officer or a public relations officer who will handle the media, who will take those fellows and, look after them even in an unethical way. That is the way to cover up the reputation of it. Otherwise, they can really kill your company. So this is what we call the reputation risk that can have a big. So what are the responses we have? So it's basically a question of balancing yourself, right? So when you are threatened with a reputation risk, you must act in a way that minimizes the risk and potential damage. You can't probably remove the reputation risk, but you must act in a way that it is going to minimize. The way that you act, the way that the board is going to act can aggravate the risk or it can reduce the risk. So, as I said, how are you going to handle the media, right? What is the action you are going to do? So, it all depends on individual circumstances. I can't give you a set of laws saying this is the way for you to handle. But one thing we are sure is we should not ignore a reputational risk. Most of the people, they say, let's ignore, let's wait and see. That is not a good way, right? More you ignore and more you try, the people will try to create more big damage for you. So I don't think it is a good way to ignore reputational risk. So one way, another people, so we will be not to address the issue. Right, not to address the issue. They will think it is, if we address the issue that we are admitting guilt. But the right way is to senior management to listen to the concerns of the stakeholders and respond appropriately. There was a P3 question some time back. A company who was doing this internet selling, business on internet, suddenly they found many customers started saying that, for things which we have not bought, you all have charged. And the credit card is charged. And the company's response initially was to say, no, it cannot be. Right? Our systems are perfect, everything is all right. It cannot be. And check whether you have given your password to your husband or to your wife or to your girlfriend or boyfriend. So they were trying to say that, we are perfect, maybe the fault is at your end. So, and they went on saying that one, and the people got really mad and angry. To see one of the people to whom they had given this, to do a customer data analysis, he has taken all the customer data on a pen drive home to do the work, and in coming back on the train, he had lost the pen drive. And he did not want to complain to the So he did not want to complain to the management, thinking the management will take action against him. And he did not complain. And what happened was, the fellow who picked it up had all the passwords, all the credit card numbers, and he was having a gala time, putting up various customers' names and buying the stuff. And the company had to suffer a huge reputational risk because their response was poor. They should have accepted. Let's see. I remember a couple of years back, 2 years back, in my credit card I had the similar amount to debits. The same amount to debits on the same day. I could not remember. So I gave a call and I said, look here, this is not possible to have similar amount to debits because I never did two similar transactions on a particular day. The response of the bank was, very sorry sir, if we will check and we will come back to you. if there is any error on the part of the bank, we will surely reverse it, but we will come back to. I was very, very happy with the response. And in about 3 hours time, they come back and they say, sir, you know, can you remember that you did 2 transactions, one to such and such place, one to such and such place. Oh, then I remembered, yes, I sent 2 Christmas hampers to two church priests for the same amount and on the same day. So, but the bank, the way that they responded, it was a different way. So maybe, you know, the bank was right or bank was wrong, but you must respond it in such a way. And the senior management should listen and respond appropriately. So when you are responding, you must look at the possible ethical issue, right? It can be sometimes counterproductive. Sometimes you have to be very, very careful. That's what I said, you have to be balancing. If it's a small kind of a risk, that is that, you know, one particular item has gone to the market, which is not, which is causing you some problem, just give a call to that customer, apologize and get the product back. You don't need to go to the mass market and make a publicity, because you have to be very commercially sensible in doing whatever you do.
Yeah.
And should be transparent. You must be transparent in whatever you do. So the people know that there's nothing hiding in this company. Right? So I remember I was in this particular company, we were selling some of these home appliances. So sometimes when you sell these televisions and all that, the customers have a lot of problems with the television, and they keep on grumbling and complaining, saying that it's not working, something. So I have told my people, respond to their complaints immediately. Right? We may be losing money, but respond to their complaints immediately. And in fact, I did something. Not only I responded, but I used to thank them and even send them a little bit of a token gift, or maybe like a kettle or something like that. So that kept them very happy. That was business. That was not unethical thing. It was appreciating their tolerance of heart. It is appreciation of their tolerance. Now, sometimes when I buy things from eBay, you know, sometimes I don't get the right product, but I want it. But when you write to them and tell them, they will refund the money, or they will give you a better product than what it is, even at free of cost. That is the way to maintain the reputation. Right? They say, sir, don't put a negative feedback. Don't put a negative feedback. So that is why if you go to eBay, you will see 99.8% positive feedback. Because they don't want the negative feedback to come. I had several times negative feedback, but they ensure, they will say, we will look after you, we will give you whatever you wanted, but don't put a negative feedback. This is real customer orientation, keeping people happy. Sometimes I don't even claim from them, because the way that they write, the way that they respond, I'm more than happy. I say, no, it's all right. You forget about it. You don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
So impact of ethical failures on stakeholders. So you remember the stakeholders, who are the people who are having an interest in the organization. So when you have ethical failures, what is the impact on these people, right? The people who are marching. So the stakeholder theory, you remember, we were talking about 3 theories in the corporate governance: stewardship, stakeholder, and agency. So the stakeholder theory proposed a corporate responsibility covering all stakeholders, a wider community, right? So basically you are responsible for all the stakeholders. So stakeholder relationship is a two-way relationship, right? It's a two-way relationship. It's not only just seen to be existing, but they must have a legitimate demand on the organization. They can pressurize you. Environmentalists pressurize you. So there can be claims against the organization, or maybe they do not know, but they know what it is like. So direct claims. Direct claims are the claims that can come from the stakeholders, saying, customers, for example, I'm not happy with your product. I'm not happy with your product. So they can claim with their own voice and that kind of a thing, right? Then we have the indirect claims. Indirect claims, basically, that's a more difficult claim to handle. That is this environmentalists, the people who have no voice, the people that like the animals and the plants. But still, there are people who will pressurize on you. So you can have the stakeholder claims coming from direct claims. You can have stakeholder claims coming from indirect claims. Then the stakeholders, they can be internal stakeholders. Who are the internal stakeholders? The employees, the management. Then we have connected stakeholders, the people who are connected to the business. Who are they? Shareholders, customers, suppliers, lenders, trade unions, competitors. They are all connected to you. Then we have the external stakeholders, the government, the local government, the public, the pressure groups, opinion leaders. So there are that kind of people. The stakeholder claims can be somewhat legitimate stakeholders or illegitimate stakeholders. So your Sima Examiner wrote an article. Even an illegitimate, even a terrorist group has a stake on you. Why? Because some of this terrorist group, they ransom you. When you make a profit, you have to pay them a particular percentage. We had a civil war in Colombo, in Sri Lanka a couple of years back, so 20 odd years, and particularly in the northern region. But business was very good in northern region. But no one can do business in the northern region unless you offer a particular part of your profit to that illegitimate terrorists. You offer them, you can do business. And of course, no bad debts, because they will ensure that every penny is collected and given to you. 100% safe business when you do, because more than the other part of the southern part of the government, the terrorist government was much more stronger on their integrity, I would say. Right. So they are the illegitimate stakeholder. So you get the legitimate stakeholders, they have a valid claim upon the organization, and illegitimate stakeholders whose claims are not really valid, but still they have a claim. So then we have the direct stakeholders or the indirect stakeholders. So the direct stakeholders are basically the employees, the major customers, the suppliers, right? So they are affected by the organization's activity. They are what we call the direct stakeholder. Indirect stakeholders are basically, they are, people like this wildlife, individual customers, future generations. You remember we were talking about sustainability, right? It was about not compromising the future generation. So they are the indirect shareholders. Then you can classify them under recognized shareholders and unrecognized shareholders. So the recognized shareholders are the people, the stakeholders. Recognized stakeholders are the people the management considers them as people who have a genuine stake inside the company. Then the other side is the unrecognized stakeholder. It's more like the illegitimate stakeholder. The management does not consider those people as stakeholders. Then another way we can look at it, the narrow shareholders and wider stakeholders. Narrow stakeholders, wider stakeholders. So the narrow stakeholders are those people who are affected by the organization, most affected by the organization strategy. Shareholders, managers, employees, those kind of people. Wide stakeholders, they are the people less affected. The government, they are not directly affected by your thing. So different ways. Active stakeholders, passive stakeholders. The people who are actively interested in you, the people who are passive stakeholders. Voluntary stakeholders, involuntary stakeholders. So voluntary stakeholders are the people who work with the organization, with their own will and with their own choice. So the employees again come into that category. Then we have the known stakeholders and the unknown stakeholders. So whatever the category you may belong to, every one of them will have an impact of ethical failure. So we have to tackle that one. So importance of recognition of stakeholder claims. So this is what the recognition. The stakeholder claims must be recognized. If you try to ignore, you are going to have problem. So you must have the knowledge of stakeholder claims and their claims. So their claims is a vital part of risk assessment. So this is where your Mendelow's matrix will come up very important. High power, high interest people, we need to keep them happy all the time. High power, high interest, they are the key players. Then we have high power, low interest. We have to keep them informed, keep them satisfied. So like that, so the Mendelow's matrix is a very, very important thing to assess the stakeholder interest. Then the organization need to know various stakeholder power, and that is what I call the Mendelow's matrix. Also, it need to know the conflicts, the various areas of conflicts between different stakeholders. So one conflict area, the employees and the shareholder. When you pay a big bonus, the shareholder dividend will be less.
Yes.
That can, and between the shareholders and the lenders, maybe between the directors and the lender. So there are a lot of so you have to the basic ultimate objective is you must, when you are doing business or for matter whatever you do, you must minimize tension. You must not have many conflicts. Right? Even in our family life, that is what we want. Right? We want to live peacefully without tension, without conflicts, without confusion. Businesses also must be run in the same way. So some organisms may misinterpret the stakeholder claim and make wrong decisions, which could be costly. Sometimes you might think, no, those people, we can ignore them and do something which can be very costly. So somewhere in December, our company normally during Christmas time, we pay not a bonus, a kind of a festival advance to the people. So a kind of a loan is given which is deducted in some monthly installments over the next 12 months. So this particular year, the management decided not to give that full amount that they have been giving all this time. And they want to give 1/3 or something like that. And there was a big protest. But the management never recognized that these people can be such a, violent force. It can be destructive. It can make a loss to the company. They did not. They did not recognize. They made the wrong decision, thinking that those people are poor people. They will be not doing anything. 4 fellows came into the office of the general manager and asked for the full amount. The general manager said, no, the board of directors have decided only to give 1/3 or whatever it may be. One fellow got so violent and slapped across the general manager right on. Yeah, right. Now that he underestimated that man's temperament. Now you have to be careful because you have to be sensitive to the people's needs. Because I told them, look at, this is a very difficult period for the people's life. So be sensitive because it's Christmas coming up. The school starts in January here. They have to buy the school book. So be sensitive because we have to spend a little bit more money. But ultimately they did not listen, and ultimately the damage was much, much more than what they were able to say. Big reputational risk because that man lost his face. After that he can't be managing that place. One worker hammering him in front of all the people. Then people went on strike 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. At least still they are on strike. So very poor decision. So sometimes we underestimate. That is why the Mendelow's matrix is a very, very useful matrix which will tell us. One thing the Mendelow's matrix says is don't let sleeping dogs get up.
No.
Yeah, right? Because it allows them to sleep. Sometimes what happens is the people who are with a low interest, high power, by not keeping them satisfied, we shift them to high power, high interest people. And then there is problem for us. So we have to manage these people. This is very important. So motivated to respond to stakeholder claims. What are the motivational factors? What are the things that tell us that we should? So the motivators. So the two people, this Donalds and Preston, they suggest that there are 2 motivators to respond to stakeholder claim. Actually, there are two reasons why we should respond to this thing. Number one is the instrumental view. Basically the organizations, they believe they have a legal responsibility to fulfill, and because of that, it is they must contribute to the morality, and therefore they use stakeholders to pursue the other objectives. So basically they believe there's an economic and legal responsibility that they have to fulfill, and the fulfillment of responsibilities towards the shareholders are desirable because it contributes to us. So that is an instrumental view. So basically they use stakeholders instrumentally. They use them as an instrument to pursue their object. So that is one way of looking at it. Then the other one is the normative view. Normative view is we have a moral responsibility, moral duty, right? So this is more of the second one is the right approach, right? We recognize there's an ethical responsibility. It's not legal responsibility. I have to go beyond the legal responsibility, for being focused on ethics, right? There was no legal responsibility for me to pay that festival advance. I have a legal responsibility to pay their salary. I have a legal responsibility to look after their national concern, but surely not but so the management of our company took up that instrumental view. They took up the legal side. But a normal company, a more intelligent company would have taken the normative view, the moral responsibility. Look at the difficulties of the people and see how we can support them, rather than try to be, you focus on your ethics. So these are the two motivators we have. So the stakeholder classification, we know internal, connected, external, legitimate, illegitimate, direct stakeholders, indirect stakeholders. So different kinds of stakeholders you will find in an organization, and you must manage all these people. The wider perspective of stakeholder view is manage everyone, minimize the conflict. So power and interest. So we know this is basically the Mendelow's matrix. So there can be people with low power, low interest, low level of interest. Level of power can be low, or level of power can be high. So this is basically the Mendelow's matrix. So the people with high interest, high power, they are, we call the key players. We cannot disturb them. We must see at any cost we keep them satisfied. They are the high power. Yeah. So they are the directors, the key shareholders, all that. Then we have the high power, low interest people. Keep satisfied. If you don't keep them satisfied, they also will shift to the second, the key power, key player. Then you have more key players to handle. You have to be careful. Then we have low interest, low power, high interest people. Keep them informed. Low power, high interest people. If you don't do that one, they might become high power later on. That is how these trade unions come out, right? And then finally, we have the low power, low interest people. Probably they are the people where we can take the least kind of effort. But remember, don't try to ignore them also. They also can be coming into the other categories unless you manage them very carefully. So managing these people very carefully is your key strategy. So stakeholder mapping purpose, why are we doing that Mendelow's kind of that? Basically, it helps the organizers to recognize the stakeholder interest and power. So this is a little bit of EQ for you, right? It recognizes the stakeholder interest and power. You can reposition certain stakeholders. You don't want them to move from one cage to the other, particularly to a higher cage, right? So you can reposition by giving them information. Even you can make them the high power, low interest man into the low power, low interest. So by maybe acquiring them. So some companies, they have a strategy. If you have big trade union people, what do? They promote those fellows as executives. The moment they put in the executive category, they can't run a union. So there are various ways of strategy the companies use. Of course, you must use those things very ethically. So you might discourage others to reposition. You don't want a low interest, high power fellows to go to the high interest, high power people. Key blockers, the key fellows who can block your strategy should be identified and they must be properly treated. But again, in an ethical manner. So in most of the questions you might find people trying to, identify troublesome union leaders and to get rid of them to a redundancy. That is not ethical. That's not a right way for you to work with. So you must establish your future priorities all the time. So problems with shareholder mapping. So the Mendelow's matrix is a good thing, stakeholder mapping, but still it has a problem. So these are very good. These are actually some of the E3 stuff that come in between us. So it is very difficult to measure the stakeholder power. Sometimes we do not know how powerful they are till they slap you on your face. I asked that general manager, didn't you know that those fellows can do? He said, no, I never thought they will do it. so till you are slapped, you don't know their power. Sometimes, the people whom we think most calmful, most peaceful people, if you rub them on the wrong side, they can be the most difficult, tough people to handle. Right?
Yeah.
Even in our own families, we find that one. They are most peaceful, most calm, but you rub them on the wrong side, they become very intolerable. They are not going to tolerate everything all the time. I have a little grandson. That fellow tolerates the sister to a great extent when the sister does this, that, and the other. But he will wait, and then when he gets really angry, he will take the sister's hair and will give a good shot. So I asked the elder sister, she's also 6 years, I asked her, why did you allow your younger brother to do? So she says, I never thought that he will do this kind of thing. So, these things do happen. They tolerate. Yeah. He won't go and attack every little moment. But he'll wait. When he really gets angry, he will take whatever that is closer to his hand. Well, it can be the punch, it can be the step, then he will go at you. So you have to be very careful. You have to recognize it's not easy. And the positions are not static. Positions are not static. It can change. Today you are a low power person. Tomorrow you may become a high power person. When the government changes, the earlier president becomes a low power. The earlier man who was just the opposition man is a high power person. The positions can change. Your supplier, who was just a small fellow all this time, you did not even recognize. But now he has been taken over by another big giant, and he's a big fellow now. So the positions can change. So you have to be agile on that one. So basically, that map that you saw, we are basically moving or shifting or doing strategic things more on strategic positioning than thinking of the moral or ethical. Right? Now this is what happened. This is what happened to our company. Right? That we were not thinking about the morality of giving money to these people. The ethical aspect. We were thinking from the legislative point of view. I remember at the board meeting, some person asking, is it illegitimate not to give a festival advance? So you try to work out your map to strategic positioning rather than thinking of the moral and ethical thing. And particularly if you have many key players, you can have a lot of conflict. So that is why you must have little number of key players. The people of high power, high interest, keep it to the minimum so you can handle them. If you have many high key players, it's so difficult to handle it. And of course, the mapping ignores the legitimate power. Right? It does not take into the account the power that the people have in them. The shareholder, board of directors think that they don't have power, but they have a lot of power with them. So I want to discuss something what we call safeguards against unethical behavior. In your organization, so this is where SIMA comes out very well. Right? In your organization, if you find unethical behavior, what are we supposed to do? We, both SIMA students and members, are governed by the Code of Ethics. And we need to behave ethically as a public duty. So to achieve that professional objective, we need to be credible. Credible means we need to be truthful with all our information and system. We need to be professional. Whatever we do should be of quality, and the public should have confidence. So we are basically given the code of ethics, which provides professional safeguards to counter ethical traits. So what are the things we have? Entry requirements to CIMA. Not that everyone can become a CIMA member, not that everyone can become a CIMA student. There are entry requirements. Certain fees has to be paid, certain qualifications has to be there before you can become a CIMA member or a CIMA student. Then continuing professional development. Remember, once you study and finish it off, that's not the end. You have to continuously update your professional knowledge. So that way, you are kept off the CIMA code of ethics all the time. Professional standards. You are supposed to maintain professional standards. Otherwise, the CIMA Institute can take action against you. Law. Right? You are all of us, whether CIMA or not, we are supposed to be under the law. Corporate governance code. Right? The corporate governance gives us a lot of protection for us in our workplace. Professional monitoring. We have been monitored by the CIMA Institute. Anyone can put a complaint against us. So because of that, we have a safeguard. We can tell our bosses, look, I can't do that because I'm under professional monitoring. Complaints and disciplinary procedures. Reporting requirements. Right? We are supposed to make our reports truthful. Resolutions of ethical conflict. So these are the safeguards we have as CIMA members, but not only for CIMA, for even others. So in the work environment is the place where you and I are subject to lot of ethical traits. So they suggest following safeguards. So when we try to do certain things, we can be subject to ethical traits. So the first thing is they suggest certain safeguards. Corporate oversight. So you must have a good ethical oversight of your company. Don't join a company without knowing the ethics. See whether the ethical programs are conducted. Recruitment procedure. See whether your recruitment procedure, whether you are recruiting professional people or non-professional people. Strong internal controls. If you have an internal control, surely you are very much protected against ethical traits, because then no one can come and tell you, hey, say to do this thing in an unethical manner, because you have the internal controls which will prevent you. I remember a long time back I was working in the government organization. All our checks are account payee checks. We can't give any open check. So only I, as the head of finance, had the authority to give an open check, to cancel that opening and give it for a particular emergency, in a contingency if you need some money or something like that. So one day, the finance minister, the acting finance minister of the country, gives me a call and tells me, I want an open check. So I knew this man is up to some mischief. I said, sir, we can't give open checks. Our system does not provide. Our system only has these checks. So he got very angry with me. He banged the phone, and in another 5 minutes time again he comes online. He says, by 4:30, if you don't give me the check the way that I want, tomorrow morning you will not be in your seat.
Oh.
Yeah, he told me. So I said, it's all right, sir, thank you very much, but I am not going to give you. And I kept the phone, and the president of the country was out of the country. I immediately took her online, and I told, madam, so-and-so is telling me like this. So the president told me, Kumar, don't worry, you do the right thing, I will see that nothing happens to you. So I was able to defend myself, because there was an internal control system saying no checks can be given without the process. Disciplinary procedures. In your organization, if you have disciplinary procedures, people will be working on that discipline. Leadership that stresses importance of ethical behavior. The leadership should have that attitude. That is what we call the control environment. The leadership should be not only preaching but practicing the ethical behavior. And there has to be some standards to monitor employee performance, to see whether these people are really working according to the ethics in the company. Very important. Timely communication and training of employees on policies, right? Continuously remind the people your policy, the company policy. We are not going to offer bribe. We are not going to do this kind of thing. Continuously. And procedures enabling employees to communicate ethical issues to management. If you have some problem, you should be able to bring up the matter to the management. So I asked this young girl today, were you able to report it to the management? She said for 1 week, the management was not listening to her. That she was sexually harassed by one of the managers. The top management was not prepared to listen to her for 1 week. Till she got hold of a kind of a legal person, then only the management has taken action to suspend that manager from work. So you must have procedures. You must be in a position to report to the top people. And also, good thing as SIMA members, we can always have a consultation with another fellow member. Find out whether what we should do. So safeguards for those in practice, SIMA members who are in practice, right? There are certain safeguards that have been given. So we have to be very, very thankful to SIMA in that way, right? So the firm should have following safeguards: leadership, stress in compliance with ethical principles, right? Quality control policies and procedures, so that, no work of poor quality will be tolerated even if you are given any money, right? Particularly if you are doing audits, you have to be very, very careful. Proper documentation, policies to identify interest and relationship. If your sister is working in a particular organization, you should never go and do that audit. Yeah, right. And particularly if your audit firm is relying on one single client, big revenue, 70% of your revenue is coming from one client, you probably is not doing right on ethics, because you will be under obligation to that party all the time. So, use different teams for non-audit work. Don't use the same audit work to do non-audit work. So even if it is the same audit firm, send 2 different teams, maybe 2 partners. Disciplinary measures, and rotating the senior partner, the senior staff. Don't allow the same partner to do the audit continuously. These are some of the safeguards that the SIMA has proposed for the people who are in practice. So what they believe is, if you do all those things, you probably will be safeguarded very much. Now the problem is this ethical conflicts that we have in organization. So there are many situations that can cause ethical conflict, right? Advocacy. Advocacy is basically, you are trying to, when you know really this is black, but you try to say white because your employer wants you to say it's white. You know it is wrong, but you are saying no, it is right, because your employer wants it to be. So aggressively trying to be without regard to the reasonable. Self-interest, right? Your own financial interest, right? You are going to get a bonus if you show bogus accounts and prepare the financial statements, that kind of thing. You can have a lot of commercial pressure coming from the politicians. You do the tender document in such a way that it is going up to these people only, right? So there can be that kind of a conflict that can come. Then the familiarity, right? You have some of your close family members, and some of your people in the company are very close colleagues of yours. So how can you go and complain? You may be the auditor, but the directors are all your batchmates. So you're surely not in having that independency to do an audit. And maybe that you got a big gift, right? When you got married, that they give a big gift, and now you're under some kind of a obligation. These are the opportunities the people will wait. People will wait to do something about it. And also the self-review, right? You yourself do the audit, you yourself prepare the financial statement. So the review and the decisions are all done by the same people. Evaluation done by the same people, the contract is also done by the same people, documents also done by the same people, tender is also awarded by the same people. Now that kind of a thing, surely these are the 4 pressure groups that we have: advocacy, self-interest, intimidation, familiarity, self-review. 5 reasons for ethical conflict.
Yeah.
So, ethical conflicts in practice, similar again, similar, very much similar. Advocacy, advocate in the client's case in a lawsuit. You know the client is wrong, but you try to give evidence saying that the client is right, giving false evidence kind of a thing. I had a case against me in one of my employees put in up. Auditor knew that I was right, but auditor was trying to perceive the client, because auditor, as far as auditor was concerned, I'm useless, right? Because I'm not no longer working. So by knowing that I'm right, knowing that the company is wrong, he was giving evidence against me in the court, giving false evidence. And the court reprimanded him for doing that kind of a thing. So that is purely ethical conflict, because he wants to audit more of that. Self-interest, having a financial interest in a client. The client has given me a loan, so I have an interest on him. Or he is giving me a lot of non-audit work, which is paying me. So because of that, I can't complain about him. I'm intimidated, right? As audit, I'm told, if you don't do this work, next year you are not going to get my audit. So intimidated. So that can happen. Familiarity, right? You have your sister working inside the company and you are going to do the audit. Surely that's not right. Self-review. You are preparing the financial statements and you are doing the audit. So this is what we call ethical. So SIMA Code of Ethics, I think you know that one. 5 main principles. Professional behavior, right? Whether in office or elsewhere, we must not bring discredit to the profession. Integrity, that is honesty. We should not be a party to supply false or misleading information. Professional competence means you should refrain from doing something which you are not capable of performing. Confidentiality, right? You have to maintain your confidentiality unless there's some legal or professional right to disclose. Objectivity, basically, it's your impartiality, your honesty, and the freedom from conflict. You can give your views across without any fear or favor, right? You don't need to worry about anything. You can just talk about whatever you have to say. So this is a very important area, how to resolve the conflict. How to resolve the conflict. So to resolve the conflicts, you must, before you try to think about ethical thing, you must see whether it is ethical. You must gather all evidence. Don't go by hearsay. Some person might come and tell, hey, those fellows are doing something, man, they are trying to prepare false accounts and I will also get caught, you will also get caught. Don't go by hearsay. That's not right. Gather all relevant information and decide that an ethical problem exists. Raise the concern internally. First of all, you must raise it internally with the manager, colleagues, or senior management. If there's a whistleblowing procedure, you remember we discussed the whistleblowing procedure. Audit committee is the whistleblower, right, facilitator. So you can talk to the audit committee people. Raise the concern externally, maybe with SIMA, maybe with the auditors, regulators. But remember, we have to be careful when we are raising externally. We must maintain. If the confidentiality has to be maintained, we have to maintain. So probably we will want to get some legal advice. And if any of those things are not happening, as a last resort, you must refuse to work with the team. Or as the last resort should be resigning. So normally many people think resigning is the first thing. No, there's a process to go through before you give your resignation. Giving resignation is not the solution. So how to manage the ethical problems, right? One way is the compliance based. So the companies act within the letter of law and violations are prevented, detected and punished. But mere compliance is no guide to good behavior. So most of the companies think we have done the right thing because we have done the law. We are within the law, letter of law. That is not good enough. It has to go beyond that one. Integrity based. So here the management takes the view that they have an ethical responsibility. It will try to ascertain the guiding values, and then we will try to work it through. So this is the way actually you should go ahead. This is the way to go forward. Like this boat going forward, you must go forward, and that can provide a good framework to prevent ethical damages happening in your organization. So most of the corporates have their code of ethics, right? So normally they have following features. So basically the employee behavior particularly covers areas like gifts, anti-competitive behaviors, even think it like Christmas hampers and all that. And we are supposed to sign that one to say that we comply with it. Maybe developed based on third-party codes. May use third parties for monitoring, because we can get an independent party to monitor, or we can get our internal auditor. So basically, corporate code of ethics will shift the responsibility from senior managers to operational, because everyone knows. So you don't need to say, you don't need to have everything hanging around you. It is passed down to the lower level, right? So basically, I have a code of ethics of a company. I'm going to send that to you for you to get an idea about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the impact of code of conduct is finally, code of conduct should set out the expectation. However, as I said, just a code is not enough. The commitment of the senior management, right? So the company must take measures to discourage conflict in behavior. Staff need to be committed to the code, understanding that it is in the best interest of the company. Because some people feel it is not in the best interest of the company. So we have to educate them and tell them. In the company I was working, they were doing some unethical things. So I said this is not good. But some directors, they thought they were losing some of the short-term money they were getting by doing unethical things. So we have to promote and we have to tell them. So, and sometimes, you know, the restrictions of earnings can come, because when you try to do things ethically, the people think that you can't earn too much of money. So in each area, you may want to give a lot of things. So what are the problems with code of ethics? Certain cultures, it is not going to work it out. And there can be lot of ambiguity and lack of clarity. Inconsistent with prevailing culture. Your culture is totally different from the code what you are taking. People pay less attention. And that comes basically when the top people are not really falling in line. Right? It tries to address the real issues. It looks at little things like the dress code and all that. But the bigger problems is kept exposed to open. And senior management behaves in a totally unethical way or inconsistent with the code of ethics. So we can have lot of conflicts between professionals and employment organization. So normally, professionals should normally support legitimate and ethical obligations. So we as SIMA people, we should support these things. But we may be subject to lot of pressurizing, to act against the law, to do things with lack of care. Sometimes they might ask you to do, I won't say to this in half an hour's time. Now you know you can't do that kind of a thing with that kind of time limit. So you will be probably doing something which is not professionally a good job. So that's a kind of pressure that can come up. Sometimes it is done deliberately by the people. So they'll not allow time for you to think about it, put in pressure. You know, unethical, illegal earning scheme, underhand schemes to pay managers certain things and all that. Misleading the auditors or regulators, not giving them the truth and all that kind of a thing. And issuing reports which are misrepresentative. So these are the conflicts that we may find in the organization. Okay, so I completed that area today for you now. So that is the ethical issues we have completed today. So the next areas I think on information system strategy. So we catch up. I think we are one lesson behind, but we'll catch up with that one. Not to worry about that one. So we are meeting again. When are we meeting again?